What's going on, YouTube gamers? Bonfire here, and today I want to give you my first impressions of We Happy Few. Now, We Happy Few is a game that is currently in early access, available on PC on Steam and the Xbox One, and I just got done playing the trial version of it on the Xbox One, which allowed me to play approximately 45 minutes, so enough to generate some first impressions. So I think a lot of people are going to be surprised when they finally play this game because it's not what I think the majority of the people thought it was. When we saw this game last month at E3, it looked like a very narrative-driven first-person shooter or first-person action game. I thought it looked awesome. I got a lot of Bioshock vibes from it. I actually think a couple of the developers that worked on the original Bioshock are working on this game. The art style has a very Bioshock inspiration, or at least look to it. And the story that was laid out was about this dystopian society that take this drug called joy to be happy. And it turns out that if you don't take that drug, like they showed in the trailer, shit gets real. It's all jacked up and it looked cool. Looked really cool, and I'm very interested in the story. However, it turns out the game is actually a survival game along the likes of, Don't Starve, Rust, just to name a few. Definitely not as hardcore as those games in terms of survival, but nonetheless still a survival game. Now, that to me, in all honesty, is just disappointing because I was very much looking forward to a narrative-driven first-person game, a good single-player experience with a cool story. Because when I saw that trailer, the story of this game is very intriguing. I like that idea that things are a little weird, and it made you ask questions, and there's a lot of unanswered questions there that I wanted to learn more about. I wanted to learn about this world. I want to know why people are taking this drug, where it came from, and so on. But instead, it seems the focus is on survival. And I'm not really big on survival games. I mean, I've dabbled in them, but they're definitely games that I don't enjoy that much. Regardless, let's talk a little bit about the game and what it has to offer. So this game to me feels like two very different games combined into one, because the game starts out with what we saw at E3. You play through that exact same thing, and it kind of sets this world. You can choose whether or not to take your joy. Apparently, if you take the joy, take the pill at the very beginning of the game ends. So I didn't do that in the demo, though I really wanted to, but I decided let's just play through it. But you do that, it's really cool, and it sets all these narrative pieces, and you get to, it kind of leaves a lot of questions to be answered that can be fleshed out with the rest of the game. And then after that little intro, you awaken into this procedurally generated open world in which you just go and survive. And that's where the game shifts into the survival game. Now, the survival elements in this game aren't as deep or as difficult as some of the other more hardcore survival games, like Don't Starve. I think that's a pretty good example. That game can be pretty stressful and pretty intense. But you do have to sleep, you do have to eat, you do have to drink water. You can get sick if you eat something bad, which actually happened to me on my first character. I ate some bad mushrooms or something, got sick, couldn't find more good food, started vomiting, and then eventually just passed out and died. On top of those basic survival elements, there's crafting. And I didn't really get to do a ton of crafting in my short time with the game, but I did end up making a lockpick and then some sort of jimmy thing, helped me get in a couple of cabinets, a couple different things where I can steal some coins and try to find some more items. But crafting seems to be a pretty important part of this game because that's how you can make different items, health kits, med kits. Your basic survival elements kind of reminded me a lot of H1Z1 in terms of my survival experience. The menu systems in which you do all this are pretty basic. I definitely think they could be fleshed out to be a little bit more user-friendly and more intuitive. They just seemed very basic and generic, and it was kind of difficult to equip stuff and really kind of get the flow of it. Just seemed a little off. Now, in addition to those survival elements, there are quests, side quests, and then you have your main quest. in which you could do. And this is kind of where the game feels like it's an open world game. There's optional quests, there's quests that kind of pop up as you explore, again, this procedurally generated world. And the weird thing about the quest is, like, I would get this quest, it would pop up and say, oh, go do this, but I had no idea how to do it or where to do it. There was no direction given. Maybe that's intentional, so you continue to explore, but it seemed just a little weird and didn't work very well. That's the other disappointing thing for me, because I wanted to do these quests, I wanted to learn more about the story and flesh out this world, but it just doesn't seem like there's many of those elements within this version of the game. Overall, I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed in this game for the fact that it's not what I thought it was. It is a survival game, and to be honest, I don't know why it's a survival game, because I just kind of feel like they're forcing you to do these survival things, but they really don't have much point to it. It doesn't seem to add to the gameplay or make the game more exciting. That said, the story elements in this game are what I think make this game still exciting, because it does have that Bioshock feel to it, and there's a lot of questions that can be answered within a narrative that has yet to be added into this game. So if you like survival games, I say try it out. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Otherwise, I say wait for the final release, which the thing about early access games is who knows when that'll be. They still don't have an actual scheduled release date. I know they plan on having it in early access for the next 6 to 12 months, so who knows what that means for the final game. But I do think there's promise here in terms of a story. We'll see what happens when the final game comes out. And there you guys have it. That's what I think of We Happy Few with my brief time with it. Let me know what you guys think about the game and my thoughts down in the comments section below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until next time, I'm Bonfire, and I will see you online.
Now come up, it's 80 you now if you with me, put your hands up. On the fly, lady, set a front on that stand.